This is Father Louis Skirty with Friends of the Word. My guest in her territory is Dr. Kathleen Waldron, president of William Paterson University, and we're here in Hobart Manor, which is one of the gems of the campus that goes back into the 1800s. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome,
Kathy.
and thank you for being here.
It's wonderful. We've had 2 interviews so far, and we're in the Christmas season taking this picture. So if you notice holiday directions and decorations, don't let them bother you. You might see this in July or Christmas. Kathy, we've been talking about the university, the atmosphere, the students, the services of the university to the students, and so on. We mentioned faculty, but as you know, the faculty stays, the students go on every 4 years or so. I want to talk about some of the articles that come out in WP magazine periodically about the awards that some of these faculty have received through the years.
Yeah, the faculty here are very talented researchers, and they're dedicated teachers, but really what amazed me when I came here in 2010 was the absolute academic quality and scholarly production of the faculty. It's quite extraordinary. So we have over 400 full-time faculty, and all of them, as at any university, are expected to publish or do creative work in their field of study. So what we have is some incredible recognition on the part of faculty. For example, the Woodrow Wilson Foundation awarded a multi-million-dollar grant to our College of Education and to the faculty in that College of Education because of their expertise in training people to become teachers in a fast-track program, people who perhaps did not study education as undergraduates, and then were recruited into the program. Our faculty design the curriculum, but more importantly, they're working with disadvantaged high schools and middle schools in the region, where they work with the placement of the new teacher and then mentor that new teacher for 3 years well into their careers so that they understand very clearly what's going to make education in the classroom with high school students work. And so that's one example.
So they get all of their certification material, their education material, even though they didn't major in education.
That's right.
And of course, this is Woodrow Wilson territory. I've got to push New Jersey after all. Woodrow Wilson is a native.
But the Woodrow Wilson Foundation, as you know, was of course named after the former president, but really is one of the largest think tanks and foundations in Washington that has deliberately set out to help people become great educators.
That's good.
And we were very honored to be one of 5 institutions to receive multi-million-dollar awards. Yes. Now you talk about. It says
a lot. I mean.
It does.
I mean,
it does.
5 throughout the whole country. Hello. That's really, really important.
Yeah. And the College of Ed not only received a Woodrow Wilson, they've also received very substantial grants from the Department of Education of the United States, as well as the Department of Education in New Jersey, because they have developed a particular expertise in working with faculty, teacher development, and high school principal development. So they go into the schools, put a faculty in residence in those schools and work with those teachers and those principals on teaching skills, leadership development, and pedagogy for the appropriate age group.
And that person is located in the school?
That person spends part of their week in the school. They're called a professional development program. Certain schools are selected, not every school qualifies, and then we're invited by the principal of the school to work with their faculty over a number of years in development, and that has been funded from external sources.
Now, good news, bad news. Good news that it's there. Bad news is, are the teachers or principals ever intimidated by that?
They're not intimidated. They want this.
Okay.
It's an opportunity. It's developmental. It's a big honor to be selected.
Excellent.
So, and the faculty who, from our College of Ed, often have had experience in originally perhaps starting their careers in middle school, or they were superintendents, or they had experience, so they know where they're coming from. And they work with the teachers on at their level, in their space, with their students, not in an academic lab.
Right, right, right.
It's
right.
real.
Yeah,
It's real.
Excellent. That's fantastic.
It really is.
And we've had a number of Fulbright scholars.
Yes, about 10% of the faculty at
Stop.
William Paterson University have received Fulbright scholarships.
Okay, you got to stop there for a second. I mean, this is a gem that you have to know about. I mean, here we are. You and I know William Paterson. We've been affiliated with him for many years. But I don't know throughout the nation if people know about William Paterson. It's a gem in New Jersey.
It is.
I know the music department and other departments too is renowned. But every aspect of William Paterson is outstanding.
I think so. I'm the president, so I can brag. But you know, there is something very different about the faculty here that I noticed when I started. The faculty come from 30 different countries. They speak 20 different languages, and they're not language professors. They could be a physicist or a business faculty member. So the faculty are very international. They're very diverse themselves, and they reflect and work with the students on that diversity. So when our students come into a classroom, they're sitting with a professor who perhaps got his or her PhD in Turkey, then did a postdoc at Harvard or Yale or MIT or some very renowned U.S. university, and then chose to come to William Paterson University. And they bring all that richness and experience, their publication records. Our faculty give talks at conferences. And one of my favorite things, and I've asked the faculty to do this, is that when they publish a book or an article, to please send it to me.
Absolutely.
Because I promise I will read that article.
That's great.
Or that
That's
book.
great.
And I have learned so much. It's like getting a second education.
That's great.
From the faculty.
And it builds your library.
It builds my library, yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And that really is important for the kids to know, for the students to know that this particular person in front of them, because sometimes they're naive, students are naive when they come in, okay, he or she is hired to teach, but when they realize what a background that he or she is sharing.
Oh, it's really wonderful. I mean, if you just take our sociology department, for example, we have experts in criminal justice, we have experts in race relations in the United States and the evolving definition of race in the United States. We have people who specialize in social justice and bring in speakers from outside. They also publish and write about important issues in our society today. And they're bringing that experience right into the classroom.
Currently, great.
Sometimes they'll assign students a chapter from their book or an article that they've written. So the student recognizes that it's not just a professor, but a national expert on the subject sitting in front of them in the classroom. It's very powerful for students to experience that.
I'm impressed with it. I mean, it really is. That's
really
wonderful. That really, and it's certainly a role model. Each professor becomes a role model for these students, and maybe their majors change because of what he or she said or showed me in class.
I think so. I think a lot of times when I ask students, well, why did you choose the major you chose? Professor so-and-so had an influence on me when I was a freshman, and I got really interested in this field. So and one of the things I notice about William Paterson University students is that when they graduate, not only do a lot of them get really great jobs, but our students are publishing and they're authors. I cannot tell you the number of students who are poets.
WP,
They write children's books, they're performing in theater, they're performing in jazz and music companies all around the country. It's really a remarkable journey that they start here but continue when they leave.
Right. Next time you get a book or an article from one of these and you want me to do a show with them, put us in touch.
I would. I'd be happy to.
Talking about students changing their majors, in my experience here, when students were working with us in campus ministry doing volunteering, like they would volunteer to teach at the developmental center or one of the local schools, but they weren't education majors. Many of them would switch because they just love teaching and the interaction. So many of them went to special ed because of our exposure to NJDC, the Developmental Center. Jerry Reynolds, a very good friend and associate of mine, Well, he went from one major to another, and taught in all those majors, and teaches locally, but because of his involvement
Yes.
in the volunteer
And
positions.
Father Lou, you've touched on an important thing, involvement. William Paterson University is the only public university in New Jersey that requires its students to have a civic engagement experience before they graduate.
Great.
And that can be in the classroom, but often outside of the classroom. Developed by professors, tied to the content of the course,
Yes.
but where we expect students to be civically engaged. We think that's an important part of education.
Absolutely.
It's an important part of being a citizen, and it's an important part of being a member of a community.
Yes.
And we hope that when students have that experience, as you say, it influences not only perhaps what they study, but how they conduct their lives afterwards.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
These 3 interviews have been so enlightening and enjoyable. I want to start again. I really appreciate, Kathy, your expertise and your presence, and your staff. They've been wonderful setting all this up.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's nice to work with people. You'll be there at 10 o'clock, and at 10:05 you'll do this, and 10:06.
We're very organized.
I can hear that. But it was wonderful. It worked well.
Very good.
This has been Father Louis Scurti, enjoying the presence of Dr. Kathleen Waldron, president of William Paterson University, here in Hobart Manor. If you want to know any more information about William Paterson, WPUNJ.edu. It's a wonderful campus, a beautiful campus, and academically a jewel of New Jersey. Thank you for joining us. Pass this on to your family and friends. And let me hear from you, Father Lou Scurti at hotmail.com. God bless you. Kathy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Father Lou.
And have a great holiday.
Happy holiday to you.
Thank you.